Ow, 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 ow. Hello. Welcome back to my channel. In case you don't know, our new family member has found my rather flexible feet fascinating. So if I'm making a face or having some sort of unexpected exclamation, it's because tiny little claws and tiny little teeth are bothering my really ticklish feet. So you'll have to excuse me just a little bit. All right. Today, I want to talk about Quest protein bars. Um, I am required by medical decree to have at least 83 grams of protein a day since the gastric bypass, and the fact that I can't take in as much food as I used to. Pardon me for a minute. I have resorted to finding my protein in other ways. And one of those other ways is protein bars. I searched out the best ones, looking for the ones with the highest amount of protein, lowest amount of sugar, because max 5 grams of added sugar to my diet per day. All right. So yeah. Fortunately, these Quest bars have sugar alcohols as their sweeteners. And the difference between sugar alcohols and regular sugar is that your body cannot process or absorb sugar alcohol, can't break it down into any sort of sugars or anything else that can be stored as fat. So, big bonus there. The downside to sugar alcohols, and I learned this through bitter experience, is that if you eat too much of it, because it doesn't bind, it for lack of a better term, it flushes you out. Yeah, that's exactly what it means. I grabbed some Werther's candies. My dad powered those down like nobody's business when he quit smoking. Only he had the full sugar, because at the time that he quit smoking, finding substitutes for sugar without losing the flavor was difficult. I mean, artificial sweeteners were just coming out on the market, so it was anywho. And Jolly Ranchers, sugar-free Jolly Ranchers with sugar alcohols. Unfortunately, because I ate the candy like candy, instead of a piece every once in a while, I'm like almost constantly. I had a pretty serious case of diarrhea for a couple of days. I learned my lesson. So you have to be very careful when you choose foods that have sugar alcohols to substitute for regular sweeteners or the artificial sweeteners. Because, like I said, they don't bind well. They run right through you and take everything else with it. Which is, in this case, isn't a terrible thing, because along with the surgery, there's going to be constipation. You can't really have a whole lot of fiber because it'll bundle up in your stomach and in your intestines because your stomach's only this big. The rest of it is rewired, for lack of a better term. They cut the small intestine away from the base of your stomach and attach it to the little pouch that they leave behind. But they also attach more of your intestine to the rest of the stomach that's still floating around in there, anchored down, I would hope. But but they attach it to the rest of the stomach that's left in there so that you can continue to process food through digestion, so that you can get the gastric juices from your stomach to attack the food while it's going through your intestines. The upside to the gastric bypass is that you don't absorb as much of the food as you used to, because it's still fairly bulky as it goes through. Chew your food really, really well. Make mush out of it. If you're not capable of chewing it really, really well, grind it up, blend it up, whatever you need to do to make it digestible enough so that you can get adequate nutrition from what you eat. And because you're not absorbing as well, the bulk of the more complex, longer digested stuff just goes right out. So yeah, it doesn't stop you from absorbing your sugar or your carbs, which is why you should go sugar-free or extremely low sugar for most of your food. It's a small sacrifice for the rest of your life, for having the rest of your life, for being able to live the rest of your life. And as I've said before, I don't wish to die the way my dad died, the way both of my brothers died, with my fat strangling my heart. Thank you very much. No, not the optimal way to die. To get off that, finding a decent protein bar that feeds that little sweet craving that you're going to run into, and that also gives you, you're such a pain in the ass, that also gives you what you need as far as protein, as far as sugar. Stop it. Protein and satisfies you as well is difficult. There are a gajillion different protein bars out there, and I did my due diligence and research to make sure I found the one that had more than enough protein. It should have anything you take in for a high protein diet if you're losing weight, or anything you take in for after surgery to make sure you're meeting your protein goals is optimal. Protein will help you maintain muscle mass. Your muscles will not atrophy, will not disappear because you're no longer providing protein to build them, to keep them built. Weight training will, for you younger set, for you people who haven't, spent a lifetime inside your body with the skin stretched out, the weight training will help snap it back. But when you get to a certain age, your skin's no longer as elastic as it used to be. So any hopes you have in your 60s, in your 70s, to get rid of that little pouch, that little those wings. You can probably reduce it, but I don't think you're ever going to get rid of it, especially if you spent a very, very, very long time being overweight. Your skin stretches to a point where it just doesn't, it loses all that elasticity, and it doesn't snap back. Cosmetic surgery can help take care of it if you've a mind. I don't have a mind because I've been under the knife way too many times over the last couple of years. I'm done. And who am I going to impress? Nobody. I don't care to. So I'm just happy to have lost the weight so that I can actually survive long enough to make sure my kids are okay. And maybe be able to finish my fan fictions. I want to be able to get all those stories completed and others written and completed before I pass. So anyway, so looking for one that has the maximum amount of available proteins, the least amount of carbs and sugars in it is a difficult prospect, because let's face it, a lot of what we eat has natural sugars. It has to. Carbs, carbs and natural sugars are a part of most every living thing, everything you eat. So, trying to limit that can be a challenge. The Quest protein bars have an average of 20 grams of protein per bar. They are, what is it, 4 grams of net carbs, which are the good carbs. They're the ones that your body doesn't process quite as well as the empty carbs, like sugar. And only 1 gram of added sugar. So it's by far the best choice, I think, for me. They give me what I need. And you're going to run into things like this that will probably lack in flavor. The texture will be a little off. I mean, you can get the Nature Valley protein bars if you want, with the peanuts and all the other stuff, the oatmeal and all the other stuff. Those are not quite as sugar-free as these. And for those of us who have the reduced capability of thoroughly digesting bulky foods, nuts and that kind of thing, and who may have a food aversion post-surgery, they're not a good choice. They're not a good choice. The oatmeal and the nuts and the sticky stuff that binds them together, just not a good choice. And they're crunchy. I'm losing teeth, and my jaw is misaligning in my old age. It's not coming together the way it used to. So I can't bite and chew like I used to. And that is also a problem with the bulky, hard, crunchy food, because I take twice as long to chew it up as I used to. These are incredibly soft. They're flavorful enough, for sure. They're not bland. They don't taste like cardboard or anything like that. And they're not overly sweet, which is something that just really turns me off as well. They're filling. You get that late night craving and you want a snack, these are the things to reach for. because you're not piling on more fat while you sleep, because we do a lot of digesting while in the night while we sleep. And if you eat a really heavy meal before you go to bed, you're fucked. That's all there is to it. So do your heavy meal. If you're gonna do a heavy full meal, do it at lunchtime. Give your body that space of time from noon to whenever you go to sleep to break down most of it, so that while you're sleeping, the rest of it's just easy. You don't get the acid reflux, and you also you know, don't feel all bloated and uncomfortable while you're trying to especially when you lay down. When you lay down, everything seems to shift upwards, and all that excess stuff in your stomach tends to press a little bit on your lungs, which makes it a little hard to breathe. So, yeah, eat your biggest meal at lunchtime. It'll also give you that time, those hours in between lunch and bedtime, to work it off. So, small meal in the morning, small meal in the evening, big meal at lunchtime, if that's how you want to eat. Dinner should never be like this. Why do you think Thanksgiving dinner is usually at 1 o'clock in the afternoon? Most people, they throw the turkey in the morning, it's done, everything else is done, and everything just pigs out in the afternoon, so they have the rest of the day for their bodies to process that and break it down enough so that they can breathe when they go to sleep at night. And yes, I know I'm up at the ass crack of dawn. I don't sleep well under the best of circumstances. Pre-surgery, I was on CPAP for obstructive sleep apnea. And my primary care believed that once I lost the weight, 110 pounds, once I lost the weight, that I shouldn't need the CPAP anymore. Even with the CPAP, even with sleep medication I take because I don't sleep well, I still wake up at the 4-hour mark so that I can roll over, shift, whatever, and go back to sleep for another 2 or 3 hours, depending on when I have to get up in the morning and take my son-in-law to work. Or, just wake up and can't go back to sleep, which is today. So yeah. And reducing the amount of food I take in the evenings helps a whole lot with that. But then I've been forced right now to reduce amount of food I'm taking in because of the surgery. Anywho, I highly recommend these Quest protein bars. They're soft enough to be able to, grind them down enough that you're not choking on them trying to swallow them, and they don't leave, seizing crap in your mouth, in your teeth. They're flavorful because I've got chocolate peanut butter, white chocolate raspberry, and cookies and cream, and they taste well enough. They taste good enough. I never really been much of a junk food person. Chips were always my favorite thing, and I've never really fallen into the sweets as deeply as other people have. So these satisfy when I'm feeling, when I'm feeling kind of munchy, in the mood for munchies. These satisfy quite well. But I eat them at lunchtime. I have a yogurt, high protein yogurt, and one of these Quest bars for lunch to make sure that I'm getting all my protein needs met, so I don't lose my muscles, so I don't inhibit my ability to heal and inhibit my ability to replace cells when they die off. Protein's important. Protein is very, very important. And animal protein is the best, but I understand where vegans are coming from as far as not wanting to eat something with a face. I get it. Plant protein is all well and good. Stop that. Did I startle you? Well, good. Stop that. Plant protein is all well and good, but it lacks some of the enzymes and some of the components that animal protein has. So you'll need to take supplements. Say hello. Say hello. Say hi, hi, hi. Hi. Hello, hello, hi. You're going to need to take some sort of supplement to augment that plant protein that you're using. So keep that in mind, kids. Do your research. Find out what plant proteins offer, what they don't offer, and what you need to do to make up for what they don't offer. Iron, for instance, or calcium, that kind of stuff. So yeah, highly recommend. They're really, really good. They're satisfying. They really are. And that's about all I have. Here's hoping you have a really great day, and I shall see you next Wednesday. How many of you know where that's from? Have a good one.